The grand ballroom of Versailles glittered under 1,000 candles as the Duchess of Montpensier adjusted her towering coiffure one final time. What the admiring courtiers could not see, however, was the small silver flask tucked discreetly within the elaborate construction of horsehair, wire, and powder that crowned her head. This was no mere vanity piece, but a carefully concealed repository for laudanum drops, her secret weapon against the crushing boredom of court life. The 18th century marked the pinnacle of elaborate hair fashion among European aristocracy, but beneath the powder perfection lay a world of hidden compartments, secret messages, and shocking discoveries that would make even the most imaginative novelist blush. These towering monuments to vanity served purposes far beyond mere decoration, becoming intimate hiding places for the most scandalous secrets of the age. Lady Catherine Fitzgerald learned the art of concealment from her mother, who had perfected the technique during the reign of Queen Anne. Within the scaffolding of her morning coiffure, Catherine routinely hid love letters from her married lover, the Duke of Wellington's younger brother. The hair was built up over a wire frame called a commode, creating hollow spaces perfect for storing correspondence. Her lady's maid, sworn to secrecy, would retrieve and deliver messages during the daily hair maintenance ritual that could take up to 4 hours to complete. The practice of hiding objects within elaborate wigs was not limited to romantic intrigue. The Marquise de Pompadour, mistress to Louis XV of France, famously concealed political documents within her gravity-defying hairstyles. Her coiffeur, a man named Legros who commanded the same fees as a master craftsman, constructed special compartments using ivory combs and silk pouches. These hidden chambers allowed the Marquise to smuggle sensitive correspondence directly into the king's private chambers without detection by court spies. French aristocrats developed an entire system of secret communications through their hair ornaments. A pearl nestled at the left temple indicated a desire for a private meeting, while a small feather positioned behind the right ear signaled romantic availability. The Duchess of Polignac employed her coiffeur to create tiny hinged compartments within decorative hair jewels, allowing her to pass coded messages to fellow conspirators during the tumultuous period leading up to the French Revolution. The sheer size of these architectural hair creations provided ample space for concealment. The average aristocratic wig of the 1770s stood nearly 2 feet high and required multiple pounds of powder, pomade, and decorative elements. Within this elaborate construction, resourceful nobles hid everything from miniature portraits of forbidden lovers to small weapons for personal protection. The Earl of Chesterfield kept a tiny pistol within his formal court wig, cleverly disguised among the powder puffs and ribbons that adorned the piece. Personal hygiene items found their way into these hidden spaces with remarkable frequency. Wealthy ladies carried small bottles of perfume to combat the inevitable odors that arose from weeks of wearing the same unwashed hairpiece. The Countess of Coventry famously concealed vials of mercury-based cosmetics within her wig's construction, applying the toxic substances throughout the day to maintain her fashionably pale complexion. The long-term effects of such practices contributed to the mysterious illnesses that plagued many aristocratic women of the era. Medical remedies represented another category of concealed items. The Duke of Marlborough's wife kept laudanum tablets wrapped in silk within her elaborate coiffure, using the opiate to manage chronic pain from a riding accident. Powdered mercury, believed to cure syphilis, was commonly hidden within the hair powder itself, allowing discreet self-medication for those suffering from the disease that ravaged Europe's upper classes. Religious and political tokens occupied secret spaces within Protestant wigs during periods of Catholic persecution, and vice versa. The Jacobite supporters in England concealed small medals bearing the image of Bonnie Prince Charlie within their hair constructions, risking treason charges if discovered. These tiny acts of rebellion allowed supporters to literally carry their political convictions upon their heads while maintaining the appearance of loyalty to the crown. The economics of wig maintenance created opportunities for blackmail and espionage. Skilled coiffeurs commanded enormous trust and wielded considerable power within aristocratic households. Jean-Baptiste Martin, who served the French court for over 30 years, accumulated a fortune through carefully managed discretion regarding his client secrets. He charged premium rates not just for his artistic skills, but for his guaranteed silence about the contents of noble coiffures. Gambling debts, a constant plague among the aristocracy, led to creative uses of wig storage. The Earl of March concealed IOUs and betting markers within his formal hairpiece, allowing him to settle debts discreetly during social gatherings. Card sharps learned to hide marked playing cards within their wigs, retrieving them during games through seemingly innocent gestures of adjusting their powder. The practice of concealment within wigs extended beyond individual items to entire systems of organization. Lady Emma Hamilton, later famous as Lord Nelson's mistress, developed an elaborate filing system within her various hairpieces. Different wigs contained different categories of secrets, one for love letters, another for financial documents, and a third for political correspondence. Her trusted maid maintained detailed records of which items were stored in which coiffure, ensuring nothing was ever lost or misplaced. Children of aristocratic families learned the art of wig concealment from an early age. Young Lord Byron, even before his scandalous adult reputation, used his school wig to hide forbidden novels and poetry. The rigid structure of formal education demanded discreet rebellion, and hair provided the perfect cover. Students at Eton and Harrow developed elaborate networks for trading contraband items through their formally powdered coiffures. The dangers of wig concealment extended beyond social embarrassment to genuine physical risk. The elaborate hair constructions, often unwashed for weeks at a time, attracted vermin and parasites. Mice, attracted by the pomade and powder, occasionally took up residence within the towering structures. The Duchess of Queensberry famously discovered a family of field mice had built a nest within her wig after she complained of mysterious scratching sounds during a formal dinner party. Fire represented a constant threat to these powder-laden constructions. The combination of hair powder, pomade, and hidden alcohol made wigs exceptionally flammable. Several documented cases exist of aristocrats suffering severe burns when their coiffures ignited near candles or fireplaces. The Countess of Huntingdon lost half her hair and nearly her life when a concealed vial of alcohol exploded during a fireworks display at Vauxhall Gardens. Professional wig thieves operated throughout London and Paris, targeting not just the valuable hairpieces themselves, but the treasures hidden within them. These criminals developed techniques for removing wigs without waking their sleeping victims, using special tools to detect the weight and balance that indicated hidden compartments. The famous thief Jonathan Wild maintained a network of accomplices who specialized in wig picking, often discovering more value in concealed items than in the hairpieces themselves. The French Revolution brought dramatic changes to wig culture and its associated secrets. As aristocrats fled the country, many attempted to smuggle jewelry and currency within their elaborate coiffures. Revolutionary guards learned to examine wigs carefully, leading to the discovery of vast treasures hidden within the hair of fleeing nobles. Marie Antoinette herself allegedly concealed diamonds within her final wig before her execution, though historians debate whether these jewels were ever recovered. Medical professionals of the era documented unusual health conditions directly related to wig concealment practices. Dr. James Graham, a prominent London physician, treated numerous cases of scalp infections and chemical burns resulting from toxic substances hidden within hairpieces. His detailed case notes describe patients suffering from mercury poisoning, lead contamination from cosmetics, and bacterial infections from unsanitary storage conditions within wigs. The social psychology of concealment within wigs reveals fascinating insights into 18th century aristocratic culture. The elaborate public display of wealth and status coexisted with intensely private needs for secrecy and discreet communication. Wigs became symbols of social conformity while simultaneously enabling individual rebellion against the very systems they represented. This paradox reflected the broader tensions within aristocratic society between public duty and private desire. International espionage operations utilized wig concealment extensively during the numerous conflicts of the 18th century. British spies operating in French courts developed sophisticated methods for hiding coded messages within their formal hairpieces. The infamous double agent Charles Genevieve Louis Auguste André Timothy Don de Beaumont, known as Chevalier Don, used feminine wigs to conceal diplomatic correspondence while operating under various gender identities across Europe. The decline of elaborate wig fashion in the late 18th century coincided with changing political and social attitudes toward aristocratic excess. The American Revolution and French Revolution challenged the fundamental assumptions of aristocratic privilege, making ostentatious displays of wealth increasingly dangerous. Simpler hairstyles offered fewer opportunities for concealment, forcing those with secrets to develop new methods of discreet storage and communication. Legacy effects of wig concealment practices influenced fashion and social customs well into the 19th century. The elaborate hidden pockets and secret compartments that characterized women's clothing of the Victorian era directly descended from techniques developed for wig storage. Jewelry designers incorporated hidden compartments into brooches, necklaces, and hair ornaments, continuing the tradition of fashionable concealment established during the age of powdered wigs. Archaeological discoveries in historic houses continue to reveal evidence of wig concealment practices. Renovation projects at Chatsworth House, Blenheim Palace, and numerous French chateaux have uncovered tiny objects that likely fell from elaborate coiffures centuries ago. These finds include miniature portrait paintings, small religious medals, coded love letters, and exotic items like Chinese jade pieces and Indian pearls that reveal the global networks of aristocratic commerce and communication. The art of wig making itself evolved to accommodate concealment needs. Master craftsmen developed specialized techniques for creating hollow spaces within hair constructions without compromising the overall aesthetic effect. These skills were closely guarded trade secrets, passed down through generations of professional coiffeurs who served the highest levels of European society. The most accomplished practitioners could construct hairpieces with multiple hidden compartments, each accessible through different manipulation techniques. Modern forensic analysis of surviving 18th century wigs has revealed traces of substances that illuminate the secret practices of their original owners. Chemical testing has detected residues of opium, mercury compounds, arsenic-based cosmetics, and various herbal remedies within the hair fibers and construction materials. These findings provide tangible evidence of the hidden world that existed beneath the powdered perfection of aristocratic fashion. The psychological impact of maintaining such elaborate secrets affected the mental health of many aristocrats. The constant pressure to conceal forbidden relationships, illegal activities, or embarrassing conditions while maintaining perfect social facades contributed to the high rates of depression, anxiety, and substance abuse documented among the European nobility of this period. Wigs became both symbols of social status and instruments of psychological burden. Financial records from aristocratic households reveal the enormous costs associated with maintaining these systems of concealment. Beyond the basic expenses of wig construction and powder, nobles paid premium rates for discreet services, specialized containers, and the guaranteed silence of their servants. The annual wig budget for a prominent family often exceeded the yearly income of middle-class professionals, reflecting both the importance placed on appearance and the value assigned to privacy. The influence of wig concealment extended into literature and popular culture of the period. Novelists like Henry Fielding and Tobias Smollett incorporated references to hidden objects within characters' hairpieces, while political satirists used wig imagery to comment on the secret corruptions of aristocratic society. These cultural references suggest that the practice was widely known and understood, even if specific details remained closely guarded secrets. Scientific experimentation with wig construction materials led to innovations that improved concealment capabilities. Chemists developed new types of hair powder that could mask unusual odors from hidden substances, while engineers created increasingly sophisticated mechanical systems for accessing concealed compartments. These technological advances represented a fascinating intersection of fashion, chemistry, and mechanical engineering in service of aristocratic secrecy. The role of female servants in managing wig secrets deserves particular attention, as these women possessed intimate knowledge of their employer's most sensitive information. Ladies' maids developed elaborate codes and signals for communicating about concealed items, creating shadow networks of information that operated parallel to official court communications. Many of these servants parlayed their knowledge into improved working conditions or generous retirement provisions, while others faced severe punishment if they revealed their employer's secrets. Regional variations in wig concealment practices reflected local political and social conditions. English aristocrats tended to hide items related to gambling and romantic intrigue, while French nobles focused more heavily on political correspondence and financial documents. German courts developed particularly sophisticated systems for concealing religious artifacts during periods of sectarian conflict, while Italian nobles specialized in hiding artistic commissions and cultural treasures from various political authorities. The elaborate mourning rituals required to maintain these concealed systems created opportunities for both intimacy and espionage within aristocratic households. The daily process of constructing elaborate coiffures while managing hidden compartments required absolute trust between nobles and their personal servants. These relationships often became some of the most important in aristocratic life, with skilled coiffeurs wielding influence comparable to political advisors or financial managers. As the 18th century drew to a close, the secrets hidden beneath powdered wigs reflected the fundamental contradictions of aristocratic society. These elaborate constructions simultaneously celebrated wealth and power while concealing the weaknesses and vulnerabilities of their wearers. The hidden world beneath the powder revealed a society struggling with the tensions between public duty and private desire, between social conformity and individual rebellion, between magnificent display and desperate concealment. The legacy of these practices extends far beyond fashion history, offering insights into the psychology of power, the sociology of secrecy, and the eternal human need for privacy, even in the most public of lives. The aristocrats who concealed their secrets beneath towering wigs were not so different from modern individuals who password protect their devices or maintain private social media accounts. The basic human need for personal space and private communication transcends historical periods, finding expression through whatever technologies and fashions are available. In the end, the hidden world beneath 18th century wigs reveals that even the most privileged members of society felt the need to carve out private spaces where they could be authentically themselves, free from the crushing expectations of their public roles. These tiny secret compartments, concealed within monuments to social conformity, represented perhaps the most human aspect of an otherwise highly artificial aristocratic culture. The Duchess adjusting her coiffure before entering the ballroom carried not just powder and pomade, but the very real weight of human complexity hidden beneath her perfectly constructed facade. The technological innovations required to maintain these elaborate systems of concealment pushed the boundaries of 18th century craftsmanship. Master wigmakers developed increasingly sophisticated mechanical devices to create accessible hidden compartments without compromising the structural integrity of towering coiffures. The renowned Parisian craftsman François Bollard created spring-loaded mechanisms operated by concealed pressure points, allowing wearers to access hidden items through seemingly innocent gestures of adjusting their hair ornaments. These mechanical marvels required precision engineering comparable to clockwork mechanisms of the period. Tiny hinges, no larger than a fingernail, were crafted from precious metals to prevent corrosion from the various powders and pomades used in wig construction. The most elaborate systems incorporated multiple chambers accessible through different manipulation sequences, creating what amounted to combination locks disguised as decorative hair accessories. The Earl of Pembroke commissioned a wig containing 17 separate compartments, each designed for specific categories of contraband. Love letters occupied silk-lined chambers perfumed with lavender, while financial documents rested in waterproof pockets designed to protect against the humidity of London's notorious fog. Political correspondence received special treatment in lead-line compartments that prevented the detection methods employed by government agents seeking evidence of treason. International trade in exotic wig-making materials created unexpected opportunities for smuggling and espionage. Horsehair imported from Mongolia carried tiny coded messages woven into individual strands, while ivory combs from India contained hollow chambers filled with precious gems. The global networks required to supply Europe's aristocratic wig culture inadvertently facilitated intelligence, gathering operations that span continents. The Spanish court developed particularly elaborate protocols for wig concealment during the War of Spanish Succession. Court ladies carried detailed maps of fortifications within their elaborate coiffures, using specially treated parchment that could withstand the chemical processes involved in hair powder application. These documents, written in invisible ink made from lemon juice and activated by heat from candle flames, allowed Spanish nobles to communicate military intelligence while appearing to engage in nothing more suspicious than elaborate grooming rituals. Religious persecution across Europe transformed wigs into portable sanctuaries for forbidden faith practices. Catholic nobles in Protestant England concealed tiny relics and prayer books within their formal hairpieces, while Protestant merchants in Catholic France hid miniature Bibles and religious pamphlets. The elaborate Sunday morning wig preparations in aristocratic households often included clandestine religious ceremonies conducted by trusted servants who shared their employers' forbidden faiths. The Jewish communities of Amsterdam and London developed sophisticated networks for concealing religious artifacts within the wigs of crypto-Jewish aristocrats who had converted to Christianity for social advancement. Torah scrolls written on specially prepared silk could be rolled into spaces no larger than a pencil, while mezuzahs crafted from precious metals were disguised as decorative hair ornaments. These practices allowed individuals to maintain their spiritual connections while navigating the dangerous waters of religious conformity. Medical quackery flourished within the concealed spaces of aristocratic wigs, as nobles sought desperate remedies for ailments that conventional medicine could not address. The Duchess of Marlborough concealed vials of ground unicorn horn, believing it would protect against poison attempts common in court politics. The Duke of Orleans carried powdered mummy wrappings, imported at enormous expense from Egypt, convinced that ancient preservation techniques could extend his own life. Alchemical experiments conducted by aristocratic amateur scientists required discreet storage for dangerous and illegal substances. The Earl of Rochester concealed samples of phosphorus and quicksilver within specially designed glass chambers in his court wig, conducting chemical experiments during formal dinner parties by mixing substances retrieved from his hairpiece. These practices resulted in several documented cases of aristocrats accidentally poisoning themselves with improperly stored experimental compounds. The art of perfumery evolved specifically to mask the various odors emanating from concealed substances within wigs. Master perfumers like Jean-Baptiste Grenouille developed complex scent profiles that could neutralize the smell of decaying organic matter, chemical compounds, and various medicinal preparations. The most expensive perfumes of the period were specifically formulated to work with the chemistry of hair powder and pomade while masking the telltale signs of hidden contraband. Seasonal variations in wig construction reflected the changing needs of concealment throughout the year. Winter wigs contained larger chambers designed to hold warming substances like heated stones wrapped in silk, while summer constructions emphasized ventilation and cooling mechanisms. The social calendar of aristocratic life demanded different types of concealment for different occasions, leading to vast collections of specialized wigs designed for specific purposes. The elaborate courtship rituals of the 18th century incorporated wig concealment as a fundamental element of romantic communication. Young ladies hid detailed maps of their family estates within their coming-out ball coiffures, allowing potential suitors to assess the financial advantages of proposed marriages. Love tokens exchanged between couples often included specially commissioned miniature portraits designed to fit within standard wig compartments, creating intimate galleries that could be carried secretly wherever formal occasions demanded attendance. Professional matchmakers operated networks of information gathered from the contents of aristocratic wigs. Servants in employ of marriage brokers learned to identify and catalog the hidden possessions of eligible nobles, creating detailed inventories of wealth, health, and personal habits based on items concealed within elaborate coiffures. These intelligence operations influenced marriage negotiations and social alliances throughout European high society. The economics of wig maintenance created entirely new categories of employment within aristocratic households. Specialized servants called compartment keepers managed the complex logistics of concealed storage, maintaining detailed records of what items were hidden where and ensuring that nothing was lost during the frequent cleaning and reconstruction cycles required by elaborate hairpieces. These positions commanded salaries comparable to senior household managers, reflecting the critical importance of maintaining aristocratic secrets. Training programs for wig construction and maintenance operated like secret societies, with master craftsmen passing down specialized knowledge through carefully selected apprentices bound by elaborate oaths of silence. The Guild of Coiffeurs in Paris maintained detailed records of approved techniques for creating hidden compartments, while strictly regulating who could learn these valuable skills. Unauthorized practitioners faced severe penalties, including exile from major European capitals. The architectural principles governing wig construction influenced actual building design during the period. The same engineers who designed hidden chambers within elaborate coiffures also created secret passages and concealed storage spaces in aristocratic residences. The interconnected systems of concealment that characterized 18th century noble life extended from personal fashion through household architecture to landscape design, creating comprehensive environments where privacy and secrecy could flourish. Naval warfare during the period incorporated wig-based intelligence gathering as ships' officers carried concealed charts and coded communications within their formal hairpieces. The elaborate dinner parties hosted aboard flagship vessels provided opportunities for exchanging sensitive information through seemingly innocent adjustments of coiffures. Several decisive naval victories resulted directly from intelligence gathered through these unconventional channels. The development of early firearms created new categories of weapons designed specifically for concealment within wigs. Master gunsmiths crafted miniature pistols no larger than a woman's hand, designed to fire a single shot at close range. These weapons, often decorated to match hair ornaments, provided last resort protection for nobles traveling through dangerous territory or attending politically charged social events where assassinations were common. Poison detection became a crucial skill for anyone managing concealed substances within wigs. Professional food tasters employed by wealthy households learned to identify the telltale signs of contaminated powders and pomades, while court physicians developed elaborate testing protocols for substances retrieved from aristocratic coiffures. The paranoia surrounding poison attempts led to the development of increasingly sophisticated chemical analysis techniques centuries before formal forensic science emerged. The elaborate funeral rituals of the period included specialized procedures for handling the concealed contents of deceased nobles' wigs. Professional last secretaries examined the hairpieces of the recently departed, cataloging hidden items and determining which should be buried with their owners and which should be discreetly returned to surviving family members. These practitioners maintain detailed records that provide modern historians with fascinating insights into the private lives of historical figures. Children born into aristocratic families learned the fundamentals of wig concealment through elaborate games and exercises designed to develop the manual dexterity and spatial reasoning required for managing complex hidden storage systems. Noble youth practiced with specially designed training wigs containing dummy compartments, developing the muscle memory and coordination necessary for adult concealment practices. These educational programs ensured that the skills required for maintaining aristocratic secrets passed successfully from one generation to the next. International diplomatic protocols incorporated wig concealment as a standard element of negotiations and treaty making. Ambassadors' coiffures served as portable embassies, containing the full range of documents, ceremonial objects, and emergency resources necessary for conducting complex international relations. The elaborate formal receptions that marked important diplomatic occasions provided natural cover for the exchange of sensitive materials through seemingly innocent social interactions. The scientific revolution of the 18th century owed considerable debt to the discrete research networks enabled by wig concealment. Natural philosophers like Benjamin Franklin and Antoine Lavoisier maintained extensive correspondence networks hidden within the formal hairpieces required for court appearances. Revolutionary scientific ideas that challenged religious and political orthodoxies could be safely transmitted through these channels, avoiding the censorship and persecution that conventional publication methods invited. Mathematical innovations emerging during this period often traveled through networks of concealed correspondence maintained by aristocratic amateur mathematicians. The development of calculus, probability theory, and advanced algebraic techniques benefited from informal communication networks that operated parallel to official academic institutions. University professors and independent researchers used wig concealment to share unpublished work and collaborate on projects that formal institutional structures could not accommodate. Botanical collecting, a popular aristocratic hobby, incorporated wig storage for preserving rare specimens during extended travels. Specially designed chambers within travel wigs allowed natural philosophers to transport delicate plant samples across international borders without detection by customs officials or rival collectors. These practices contributed to the rapid exchange of botanical knowledge that characterized the age of global exploration. The elaborate costume balls and masquerade parties that defined aristocratic social life provided perfect opportunities for the most daring concealment practices. The additional disguises and theatrical elements of these events allowed for concealed storage systems that would be impossible to maintain during normal social interactions. Professional costume designers developed increasingly sophisticated hidden compartment systems specifically for these occasions, creating wigs that were essentially wearable treasure chests disguised as elaborate entertainments. Criminal enterprises operated extensive networks based on wig concealment, with professional thieves developing specialized techniques for accessing hidden chambers without detection. The most skilled practitioners could examine a wig and identify concealed compartments through subtle visual cues and weight distribution analysis, then extract valuable items during crowded social events without their victims' knowledge. Law enforcement agencies struggled to combat these sophisticated criminal operations, as traditional search methods were inadequate for detecting the advanced concealment techniques employed by master criminals. The decline of elaborate wig fashion during the Revolutionary period created unexpected challenges for those who had relied on hair concealment for survival. Former aristocrats fleeing political persecution found themselves without their traditional methods for hiding important documents and valuables, leading to desperate attempts to recreate concealment systems using simpler hairstyles and alternative clothing modifications. Many valuable historical artifacts were lost during this transitional period as traditional storage methods became impractical or dangerous. Geographic variations in wig concealment reflected regional differences in political systems, religious practices, and economic conditions across Europe. Scandinavian courts developed techniques optimized for extremely cold weather conditions, while Mediterranean nobles adapted their concealment methods to account for higher temperatures and humidity levels. These regional specializations created distinct schools of wig craftsmanship, each with unique advantages and limitations based on local environmental and social factors. The emergence of early photography in the late 18th century created new security challenges for those practicing wig concealment. The permanent visual records created by photographic portraits could potentially reveal the locations of hidden compartments to trained observers, leading to the development of photographic poses and lighting techniques designed to obscure the structural details of elaborate coiffures. Professional portrait photographers learned to collaborate with their aristocratic subjects to ensure that concealed storage systems remained undetectable in formal images. Legacy effects of 18th century wig concealment practices extended well into the industrial age, influencing the development of hidden storage systems in everything from furniture design to architectural planning. The sophisticated mechanical principles developed for accessing concealed compartments within hairpieces provided inspiration for safe makers, jewelry designers, and security specialists throughout the 19th century. Modern historians studying these influences have identified direct connections between aristocratic wig construction techniques and innovations in everything from railroad engineering to telegraph technology. The psychological profiles of individuals who became masters of wig concealment reveal fascinating insights into the relationship between social conformity and individual creativity. Those who excelled at maintaining elaborate hidden storage systems often possessed exceptional spatial reasoning abilities, superior manual dexterity, and remarkable attention to detail. These individuals frequently channeled their talents into related fields like clockmaking, jewelry design, or architectural planning, suggesting that the skills required for successful concealment translated effectively into other technical disciplines. Medical professionals of the period documented numerous health conditions directly related to prolonged use of complex wig concealment systems. Chronic neck strain from supporting unusually heavy coiffures led to widespread musculoskeletal problems among the aristocracy, while chemical exposure from improperly stored substances within hairpieces caused various forms of poisoning and skin damage. The elaborate hygiene rituals required to maintain these systems contributed to the development of early dermatology as a medical specialty focused on treating the unique health problems of the wealthy elite. The final transformation of European society during the Revolutionary period marked the end of an era in which fashion and concealment intersected so dramatically. The elaborate wig culture that had defined aristocratic life for nearly a century disappeared rapidly as political and social changes made such ostentatious displays of wealth and status increasingly dangerous. The secrets that had been carefully hidden beneath powdered coiffures were gradually revealed through historical research, memoirs, and archaeological discoveries, providing modern scholars with unprecedented insights into the private lives and hidden motivations of one of history's most fascinating social classes. Yet the fundamental human needs that drove aristocratic concealment practices remain constant across historical periods. The desire for privacy, the necessity of maintaining secrets, and the creative adaptation of available technologies for personal purposes continue to shape human behavior in ways that echo the elaborate wig culture of the 18th century. The duchesses and earls who carefully managed their hidden compartments were engaging in behaviors that remain recognizable and relevant to anyone who has ever needed to keep a secret or maintain a private space within a public life.